Schools are reopening today across various states. Chhattisgarh, Punjab and Uttarakhand have decided to reopen certain classes. Chhattisgarh schools are set to reopen for students of class 10 and 12. Punjab schools are set to reopen for all classes. In Uttarakhand, schools are now reopening for 9 to 12th class. In fact, many activists and educational experts are demanding that schools reopen soonest in some form to allow children back in physical classes, as too much time has been lost. Children have not gone to school for 18 months now, and numerous studies have shown how the digital divide has caused a fault line in India's education system. It's not accessible to all, in fact to a very small percentage of people. To talk more about this, we're joined by Praneeth Mungali, trustee of Sanskriti Group of Schools, Kiranpreet Kaur Dhami, principal, Sri Guru Harkishan Public School, Hoshiarpur, Dr. Lancelot Pinto, consultant pulmonologist and epidemiologist, and Dr. Amrita Das, educationist and career consultant. I'd like to start with you, Ms. Dhami, if you could tell us what sort of steps are being taken, what has the reaction been among parents about the reopening of schools?
Thanks, ma'am. Last year when we had started with the schools, but there was at once quite a bit surge in corona cases, so which led to again closure of the schools. Let's hope that this time corona dies down. Actually, parents are quite apprehensive. Although the government has laid down a very strict protocol for COVID, and but there are a number of discrepancies that we are facing. There is not much feasibility in that case. The problem lies with three areas. One is the vaccination. The government has told that the staff should be fully vaccinated. Any student who is above 18 should be vaccinated. But as such, there is not clarity on fully vaccinated being if the teacher has taken first dose, if it is applicable to second dose teachers only, or if it is okay if we have teachers with first dose. Second is, in vaccination, there is not much availability of the vaccines as such. The vaccine portal most of the times remains closed due to non-availability of vaccines. And I think government is taking steps into providing vaccine as soon as possible. There are other factors as well, wherein parents, they want that the schools should open only when the students have got vaccine. So that is an area of concern, and I think government may be taking care of that matter.
All right, so challenges there, and you're saying many of the parents unhappy. Praneeth Mungali, your views on this?
Gargi, I think the issue is nuanced over here because the ground reality in different cities are different, right from the availability of vaccines to the kind of protocols which can be implemented. So I think step one over here is recognizing that the near-term challenges which will persist with coming up with protocols, etc., are going to remain. But we are soon reaching the point of inflection where the opportunity cost of the long-term damages which we risk doing to the children are becoming more preponderant now. And it's not just the issues to do with the mental health or the academic learning, but these are issues of national interest and national security, because we are soon transitioning to a stage where we are moving to a knowledge-based economy, artificial intelligence, etc. So many things which player groups like China, the US or UK, they are forging ahead. And we are already a year to a year and a half behind because of the digital divide. So it's not just the urban-rural divide, which is a factor which needs to be weighed in when we are discussing the continuum of risks of near-term challenges and long-term issues over here. But imagine a situation where for a year and a half, there are students in the West or in China, etc., who had access to education, and our students have not. And our students have been locked up at home. So this worryingly means that in the future, we risk making fewer entrepreneurs because the risk-taking appetite of children in the long run goes down. The engineers, doctors, so many other skills which can only be acquired in person, they risk atrophying if children don't come back to school. So I think starting an active dialogue of having consensus, communication, giving comfort to the parents, at least we've started this in our case, and the response has been very favorable. The majority of the people recognize that the children must come back, that the schools will take all kinds of measures, not just what the government has mandated, but people will go over and above and beyond. And we are soon reaching the stage where it's not just the process of having the dialogue, but the process of actually inviting the students back for in-campus learning, looking at the experience of other countries, etc., is upon us now.
Right, and the Delhi government has asked for feedback because they're actively considering this. Dr. Pinto, I know you support the restarting of schools, in some form. It can be in a staggered way. What would you say about the fears of parents and the fact that earlier when some of the states did open schools, there was, a spike in cases?
Good morning, Gargi. I think it's extremely important to assuage the fears of parents, and I think we can do this from the available data from what we've learned from other countries, that, what we've done throughout this pandemic, especially in India, is we've kept the kids away from school to protect the elders at home. That's pretty much what we've done. Because I think if there's one signal that we've almost consistently got from most countries across the world is that children are very safe. So these concerns that the children are at risk really need to be addressed in a scientific way with a lot of knowledge which is already out there. The second question is whether the children will bring back the infection home and thereby infect others at home, and the vulnerable people at home need to be concerned. I think this is a great opportunity in a way to therefore encourage vaccinating all those individuals in homes where there are children who are going to return to school. Of course, we have to address this in a context. The vaccine needs to be available. Maybe schools themselves can try and run some sort of vaccination camps for parents and for individuals at home.
Right, because what Ms. Dhami was saying is concerning. She's saying that, they're not being able to access vaccines. Very often the portals aren't showing any vaccine availability, and some teachers have just one vaccine. So this is something all states need to prioritize, ensure that all the teachers, all the staff that's involved in schooling is completely vaccinated.
No, I absolutely agree. So it's easy to just, make statements and say that do this and do that, but the ground reality has to match the guidelines that we are kind of propagating and the guidelines we are advising. So there has to be availability of vaccine. So it's easy to say that everyone in a school needs to be vaccinated for kids to come back, but we will have to figure out ways in which everybody can actually get those vaccines. This question of 1 dose versus 2 doses, I think 2 weeks after the first dose, you have adequate protection in terms of mortality. And I don't think, waiting for another 3 months or so before everyone has their 2 doses should be the priority. Also, there is a suggestion that we should shorten the duration of the 2 doses for individuals working in high-risk settings like we've done. We made exceptions for students going abroad for further studies, for people going for work abroad. I think those exceptions can also be made for individuals working in schools so that we can reopen schools as soon as possible.
Right, Dr. Amrita Das, we know UNICEF and have all spoken out on this issue also and said the priority has to be to get children back to schools. Some of the ground that has been lost may never be recovered.
Yes, that's a fact. First of all, let me say I'm delighted to be with all of you. Thank you, Gargi, for bringing me on. Excellent points have been made. What I have to say is that presently, where the lockdown has been lifted, with adequate protocols in place, schools are the safest places students can be in. Wherever lockdown has been lifted, these students are all over the city. They are in cinema houses, playgrounds, malls, where COVID protocols are not maintained. They are at risk there. Parents don't have control over them. Teachers will have better control. So I emphasize that presently where lockdown has been lifted with protocols in place, schools must open. Out of 28 states and 8 union territories, just about 12 have opened schools so far. Many more need to look into it with vaccination of all teachers. The issue of vaccination is very, very important. Then, as UNESCO has said, going back to school will enable these 30 crore students to once again go back to a system where their all-round development was taking place, their intellectual, social, emotional, which has really suffered a lot. Students have had a tough time. I would call them and the teachers who went on to online teaching the true COVID warriors along with the others. So the schools should consider...
Right, and right now we know a lot of states are opening classes for senior students, but there's now a lot of information available about the damage to younger students,
Yes.
young kids, how they've lost ability to speak in a sense because they don't interact much with anybody. So that also has to be some sort of priority in getting them back maybe once a week or something.
We are interacting with a lot of schools and children, and they have face stress. They are anxious. So when they get back, when they interact with their peers, when they go in for co-curricular activities, they'll have holistic development. I feel just as CBSE has brought in Plan A and Plan B for exams, all schools will have to be proactive with Plan A and Plan B, be agile. Start school, God forbid, if the next variant of Delta comes in, shut them and go hybrid again. So go online. So a hybrid system, very carefully calibrated and planned, will exist for at least another year, and we have to prepare for it. But going back to school right now, where the lockdown has been lifted, is imperative. The children are out anyway. So as I emphasized, school is the safest place where there will be a complete system in place, the nurturing of the all-round development of the students, and wherever possible this should happen. All classes coming alternate days, but all classes to open.
Right, so there has to be some thinking out of the box. Dr. Pinto, what about parents who are saying, okay, let this vaccine that is being talked about, that vaccines for children may be available by September, let that happen, and then get students back in schools?
No, I think that's flawed thinking, because from the time that the vaccine actually does get available, when it does, it has to go through all the loops of clearances and DCGI clearances. Once it gets that approval, till the time that we can vaccinate the majority of children in the country, is probably going to be a 6 to 8 month duration in an optimistic situation, given the fact that we are struggling with vaccinating all adults right now. So I think if we choose to wait, that we're going to further do damage and further propagate the damage that's already happened over the past year and a half. And I think that's flawed thinking. I mean, we should welcome vaccines for children, that will be a step forward. But actually waiting for that to happen, I don't think is the right thing.
Right. Praneeth Mungali, there's also, the divide between the cities and rural parts of the country. And of course, what works for the city schools is it's very different for the schools in rural India. And for there, we definitely expect the authorities to do a lot more hand-holding and helping the schools get on track.
True. So, Gargi, that is already happening in some states. For example, in the state of Maharashtra, the rural areas were prioritized in terms of the reopening of the schools. Fresh protocols were designed specifically for the rural areas because the ground realities over there are different. And even more importantly, I think there is consensus and a lot of clarity amongst the policymakers as well that we risk undoing decades of good work, whether in terms of right to education, empowerment of the girl child, etc. Children don't very quickly come back to school. So the measure of starting with rural areas, where very often they're in, what can effectively call bio bubbles, where people are either within villages or within specific areas. They're not traveling outside very actively. That is the right way to start. They're the ones where the learning gap has also been highest. Then moving to semi-urban areas, and finally coming to the cities where Dr. Guleria had mentioned that using the threshold of the 5% positivity rate, wherever it reaches below that, at an individual city level, not just at a state level, those decisions should be taken to restart.
All right. And Ms. Dhami, final word to you. Schools reopening in Punjab. I know you're concerned, but are you looking forward also to welcoming the children back?
As such, the schools were to open from 26th of July, but not all schools have been able to make it. But certainly from this second, I think all schools will open for the senior schools, and we are making arrangements for having the younger kids as well. As Mr. Praneeth was talking about the rural area, I talked to some of the students who are into government schools. There is a wider gap between the way things are managed in a private school as compared to a government school. I just checked with those children and I just asked how they are following the protocol. So they said, we don't have any protocol in our government school. We sit all even three students are sitting on a bench. So it is entire the responsibility of all of us, being educationists, the education department, that we make sure that the protocol is followed everywhere. So it is normally the authorities, they always target the private schools, how they are managing their transport, how they are managing their schools and all. So it is our entire responsibility lies with us.
No,
I think we will be able to make it opening of the schools quite feasible.
Right, and this is something where everybody needs to tread carefully, but ensure, as much as we can, safeguards are in place. Thank you so much all for joining us on this very, very important topic.